Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel host. For today's video, I am on my own and we're going to be talking about Everton's trip to Hull City, which is tomorrow at 5:30, live on BBC One, I believe. I don't know whether that's a good thing, but at least it means that the fans can see the game. And hopefully Everton can put on a show now and put on a big performance. And I think that's really needed now. I'm going to talk about Rafa Benitez's press conference today. I'm going to touch on the injury news and look briefly again at Hull City and how they've been doing. And I will be live straight after this stream at 8:15 on Twitter Spaces with Mabsy. We're doing that at the moment as a way of just trying to promote the channel and get more people on. It is an audio stream, but it's worked really well. I think we gained 30 odd followers from our last Twitter space. So we're going to do another one at 8:15 over on Twitter at Follow Everton on Twitter. So you can tune in straight after this video at 8:15, me and Mabsy and loads of special guests. So that we're looking forward to that. But for now, it's just me on my own looking ahead to the whole game. And there you go. Mabsy is saying he'll be on Twitter Spaces later, which is really something we're looking forward to. So I think it's a good thing we're on TV, first and foremost. I think you have to take some responsibility for the results, and the fans want to be able to watch the game. And I think it's not a bad thing that we're on TV. It's a good thing that we've been picked. But I don't know whether we've been picked on TV for the right reasons. I think as an outsider's looking in at Everton at the moment, it's almost like a bit of a parody. You see a lot of the things they're talking about on TalkSport, and they're making a bit of a mockery of us, and they're laughing at us. And I think Everton have got to do something right now, certainly tomorrow, and put on a show, get a result, and get through to the next round without any fuss. Do I think we can win this competition? No, I think we're miles off it. But you've got to try and, as Rafa says, implement some form of winning mentality. And surely, if he loses against Hull, I mean, I don't know how many more games he can go on losing without getting any results. So where should we start with this? Should we talk about Rafa's press conference first and foremost? I mean, I'll go get into this in more detail again on the spaces at 8:15. First of all, he's talking about Luca Dean. He says he handed in a transfer request. Well, basically what he alluded to was that Luca didn't want to follow instructions, didn't want to sacrifice himself for the sake of the team. That's how I interpreted it. That Rafa basically said to him, we don't have the strikers. And all Luca Dean was concerned about was statistics and not being able to get assists and not being able to look good in the team. And Rafa was quite clear, I think, reading between the lines. And the thing with Rafa Benitez is he doesn't give you a straight answer when it comes to the questions asked. It almost comes across like he's trying to deflect and find a way of avoiding the question, but ultimately he does answer it in a roundabout way. And when asked about Dean, I think it became quite clear. He said something like, the team finished 10th last year. I don't care about statistics. Luca Dean was asking, I'm not getting the assists. Seemed to be more caring about his individual stats rather than the team and what the team needed. That's what I took from it. And Luca, I mean, he asked to go when Ancelotti left. We've been preparing. There's been some planning in the background for his replacement. And I think you've seen that with Michaelenko. That was moved very quick, but will have been on a list because Luca reportedly asked to leave in the summer once Ancelotti gone. And I think he's got one eye on the World Cup next year for sure. And I don't think it looks good to be playing in a side that's really struggling and, in a relegation battle. I don't think it looks good for him in terms of competing for that first choice left back spot for France. I don't think it looks good that he's at Everton really. So he wants to go. On the other hand, there'll be some people that say, no, he didn't want to leave and he was happy, he signed a contract in Feb. But you're talking about a top footballer here who wants to go and play Champions League football and play for his country. And so there are probably 1,000,001 reasons why he'd want to leave Everton Football Club. And Rafa Benitez, I think, is the icing on the cake. They've obviously had an argument over that. And he said, I'm not getting I'm not getting high statistics. We're not doing well. And Rafa Benitez has obviously said, you're not putting the team first. You're selfish. So that's that on the Luca Dean situation. I think he'll be out the door. And for me, if he goes to a West Ham, I think it'll say, he's had a falling out with Rafa Benitez. If he goes to Newcastle, I'll be saying, well, you're a mercenary. I'm sorry. And I think if he goes to Chelsea, I think, or another team in the Champions League, I'll just hold my hands up and say, fair enough. You know, you've gone on to a team that's competing for honours, and we're nowhere near that at the moment. And I wouldn't begrudge him leaving. Do I think he's good enough? Perhaps. I think he's a little bit on the decline, actually. It seems to be losing a bit of a yard of pace as well, which isn't going to help him. But yeah, I think that's the situation with Luka Dean. Rafa Benitez also talked about wanting his team to play with aggression, and he said historically, we didn't actually say historically, but he said my teams fight, they're aggressive, they press high, they're on the front foot. We haven't seen any of that so far, so I don't agree with that whatsoever. If he's talking about past teams, fine, maybe so, but you know, you look at his experiences with Liverpool. He had Gerrard, Mascherano, and Alonso, which is a world-class midfield three, and he hasn't got that at Everton. But I've got to start seeing signs now that his Everton team can implement that. And I'm not saying we have the players in the right positions. We don't have the players in every position to play this pressing, aggressive, on the front foot football style. We haven't got it. We haven't got the ball players. We haven't got the players with the mobility. So, but you have to try. You have to show us some signs that this is what you're aiming to achieve. This is what you're hoping to do. At the moment, I've seen absolutely no sign that his side is that. I think he's talking absolutely gibberish. Just back on the Luka Dean thing, he actually brought in, he mentioned Peter Reid and said, what would you want? I think it got took the wrong way a little bit. I think it was more to do with, you know, what would a true Evertonian want? A player who wants to play for the club or a player that doesn't want to play for the club? You know, if he doesn't want to be here, what would you do? And I think 9 times out of 10, most people would say that it's time to move a player on if his head's not in the club. You can investigate that as much as you want and go, why doesn't he want to be here? Is it Rafa Benitez? Is it because he wants Champions League football? Is it another reason? I think we're not going to really find out. We're making an assumption, though, that it is a bit of both. It's wanting to go and get Champions League football, go and do something with his career while he still can, and also because he doesn't like Rafa Benitez. But injury news: Calvert-Lewin's got a small injury. I don't think you can even class it as an injury. I think he's being rested and not going to be included. That's what the official site says. I think if he was fit, you'd have him on the bench for sure. Also, water is wet. Yerry Mina is out. Tom Davis isn't quite ready as well. I'm just trying to think who else. Cenk Tosun's not in the picture. Training with the club, but he's not in the picture, I don't think. I'm just trying to think who else is injured. Andros Townsend's back in individual training, so he's going to be a little while away. Not quite ready yet to be starting the game and being involved in the squad, really. So you've got Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison as well. So your 2 main strikers are injured. Andros Townsend is injured, and Yerry Mina and Tom Davis. So the 5 of them are not going to be involved. And really, would I have played them with the game on Tuesday coming up? I think I would have played Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. For sure, I would have just played them and get the game won within 50, 60 minutes and then bring them off. That would have been what I would have wanted to done, because I just think there's no margin for error now. You've got to start winning games, and I think a defeat at Hull City or in the Championship would have been very, very damning for everyone, really. And I think there would be some sort of explosion at Finch Farm if that happens. But they're not available, so we've got to find another way of adapting for that game. And I think it might be a good opportunity now to bring in Ellis Sims or Dobbin up front and give them a go against Hull and keep the rest of the team as strong as possible. And I'm hoping he's got an eye on Tuesday's game against Leicester in mind. And if Gomez is not going to play against Leicester, then he's a player I would start tomorrow. For me, I'll give you my team based on those injuries as well. I'll very quickly go to the comments before I go to the team. We've only got 7 more minutes left on this particular stream. Are we on telly because we're expecting an upset? Yeah, I do think there is a part of that. They think that there's going to be a giant killing there. Everton and Sheffield Wednesday seem to be the most 2 miserable clubs in England, Tim. I can't disagree. And Robbie saying, is Rafa going to play 6 across the back line? I think we will see some very defensive performances. We've got to start shutting up shop. And if that means playing in a very compact way against certain teams, then by all means do that until we've got the personnel. I'll come to some of the other comments in a moment because I know there's quite a few. Stay with me. I want to give you the team that I'm going to do. I'm throwing Patterson in because I don't think he's going to play on Tuesday against Leicester. I think Seamus Coleman and his experience will be needed against Leicester City. So I think Nathan Patterson in at right back, Jordan Pickford in goal. I'm not messing around with the keeper. I'm not tempted to play Asmir Vegovic. I'm sorry, mate, but I just want to try and get a settled side as much as I can, really. No, it's really contentious in central defence. For me, Michael Keane come under a lot of scrutiny. I listened to TalkSport yesterday, and Kevin Campbell said, no, you are not the leader we need in defence, even though he likes him as a person. So got to agree with him, Michael Keane. He's played every minute, and that's the common denominator. And the same with Mason Holgate as well. It's really difficult to pick a central defender, but for me, it's Jared Branthwaite in central defence. Alongside Ben Godfrey. And I don't know whether that's going to give us the best results, but we're going to have a go. And I'm also playing Michaelenko because, you just throw him in. He's not going to play on Tuesday. Ben Godfrey's going to play left back on Tuesday. So Michaelenko at left back, Patterson at right back, Branthwaite, and Ben Godfrey. And yeah, it could be an absolute disaster, but something's got to change. And I don't see the point in just going with the Holgate, Keane, Coleman, Godfrey defense. I just think tried and tested. It's a pack of shite. It's absolutely rubbish. There's no balance, nothing going forward. Weak as piss defensively, not good on the ball, bringing the ball up from the back. There's no reason to do that. And I think give those kids a go. And if we lose, okay, we lose. But I think we can get a result with that back four. I think that's a strong back four. And if they're not ready, don't buy the players. If they're not going to be good enough to play against Hull City in the Championship, don't buy them. So I'm putting them in straight away. Midfield, again, that's really difficult to pick, I think, for this game because Doucouré and Allen, you want them on Tuesday. And there isn't really many numbers in there. I don't know where Fabian Delph is. Tom Davis is injured. And Jean-Philippe Gabamin's been offered to various clubs around Europe on loan, and he's way, way off being a Premier League footballer. Could we see Gabamin in there? I think we might see him. Personally, I think... What's the situation with Doucouré like? Maybe you've got to play Doucouré and Gomez. It's really difficult. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really struggling here because I don't want to go too weak. At the same time, there's Tuesday's game in mind. I think we're going to see Gordon and Gray. And I think we're going to see Rondon up front. I think there's a difference between what I'd like to see and what I think we're going to see. And if we go with what Rafa's going to go, it's going to be Solomon Rondon up front, Damari Gray, and Anthony Gordon on the wings. Andre Gomez in midfield. I'm struggling. I can't even think of the players. They're so forgettable, aren't they? And we haven't got the players to be fiddling around with the team. We haven't got the players to be rotating. We really haven't. And I'm thinking about that. And I wouldn't really want to play Damari Gray and Anthony Gordon in this game, but they're both going to have to play, and they're probably going to play on Tuesday. There's no one else really to come in. Do you go 4-4-2 and play Ellis Sims up top with Rondon? Let me know in the comments what you think. What would your team be? Because I am thinking that Leicester game is probably more important. We're not going to win this FA Cup. We'll possibly beat Hull City and then lose in the next round, or the round after, excuse me, because we're that bad at the moment. We can't get any sort of consistency. So I'm not sure whether I'd risk these players. Tim's saying Townsend's back. No, he's in individual training. And Dave's saying Gabama needs to put in a performance, put himself in the shop window. I agree, but not fiddling around with him in this game. He's like a ghost in there with no aggression. What about potentially just Lewis Dobbin up front alongside Solomon Rondon and give Dobbin a bit of a free role? Gordon and Gray on the sides. Andre Gomez and Doucouré in midfield. And then the back four, Patterson, Branthwaite, Godfrey, and Michaelenko. It doesn't really inspire me too much, but we should have enough to get past Hull City. I'll tell you about Hull now. I'm coming off the stream. We're going on Twitter Spaces with Mabsy at 8:15. It's a really good platform to get people involved in, and also helps promote the YouTube channel, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. Looking at some of their results, they lost away at Blackpool 1-0 in the last fixture, and they drew with Reading, Bristol City, and lost to Nottingham Forest in the last 3 games before that. So they've not played in 3 weeks, but I'm looking at the team, so those recent results, and I'm thinking, they can't be that good. We've got to go there and get a result. We've got to go and assert some authority on the game. And as Rafa says, his sides play pressing and on the front foot. No, you don't. You haven't done that here, but this is an opportunity now to show the fans and to show everyone really in the football community that that's how your Everton team is going to play. So let's go and assert some authority on the game. Go and get the game won as quickly as we can. I'm really struggling to pick the team. I'll be honest with you, because there isn't the room for the rotation. We've got a lot of injuries. The fringe players aren't good enough. He can't afford a loss, and we play on Tuesday against Leicester, so it's very difficult. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go to the comments. We've got Robbie saying, "How sad, Ryan. We've spent 500 million and we don't know what our team will be." I agree. In an ideal world, you want your set 11, and I wouldn't care whether we're playing Saturday and Tuesday because we haven't played for many games over Xmas. And I just have a really settled team for every game. And really, for me, moving forward, hopefully that's going to be Pickford, Michaelenko, Patterson, Yerry Mina and Ben Godfrey, with Branthwaite coming in and on rotation for whoever's available in central defence. Alan and Decore, because we haven't got anyone else. I think desperately need a central midfielder who can run and can tackle, and it's going to show some discipline because we haven't got a true central defensive midfielder. That being said, we need a centre back as well so badly. But yeah, that's the team, and then you want Gordon, Gray, Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin up front. I think that's the pick of the bunch, really. So if we can get that team settled, that would be my team week in, week out. Gordon, Gray, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Alan Decore, and they're those four defenders if they prove to be any good. But we'll see. We don't know what we've done. And you listened to Kevin Campbell on TalkSport yesterday. These are the players that we've got now. They've come in to replace players that weren't good enough, who came in to replace other players that weren't good enough. So it's 3 generations of misspending. I'm really hoping now Bill Kenwright's in charge of negotiations. We're doing some better deals. I'm really hoping now these players are going to prove to be worth their salt, and we can get more of a similar ilk in and just forget about all the mishaps. And you've got the 3-year window, haven't you? You've got 3 years financial fair play. You can make the losses within the 3 years. I think we're coming away from that sort of 2018, 2017, where we wasted all that money. I do think there was an element of luck with that. I mean, I think Balassi on paper was a brilliant signing. I remember being really excited about him, but he had the injury. Sigurdsson on paper again, and the market was very, very inflated. But they're 2 players that could potentially have been really strong in a side. And it just hasn't worked out, really, for many of the signings. And, of course, for every player like that who you think might have been unlucky, there's been some very, very bad signings. And you've got to remember, Robbie, we've got rid of the Schneidlins and the Niasas and the Klassens. We've got rid of most of them, the Cuckoo Martinez. We've got rid of most of that core group, replaced them, and then realized the replacements aren't good enough, and we're having to replace them again. And that's the infuriating thing, and it really winds me up. I'm going to be talking about more stuff like this. Mabsy, if you're there, give me the nod when you want to go over on Twitter Spaces. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button below. Make sure you like the video. My prediction for the whole game, excuse me, Everton are going to go behind. It's going to be a really cheap goal. It's going to be from a set piece. And they're going to go down within the first 20 minutes. Then we're going to come back. We're going to get to 1-1 at half time. And then we'll come off the bench. Someone will come off the bench. And Ellis Sims, and it'll be 2-1 Everton. I mean, I think I'm a bit fucking deluded. Mabsy is ready. So we're going to wrap things up now, guys. Thanks for watching this preview. I'm thinking Everton are going to go 2-1 win tomorrow. Ultimately, I don't think we can fiddle with the team too much because there isn't the options. Going to give a debut to the 2 new fullbacks because I don't think they're going to play on Tuesday unless they're absolutely outstanding tomorrow and recover on time. And I just think there's no excuse now for not picking up a win. If you haven't already seen it, make sure you watch Rafa Benitez's press conference. A lot of people kicking off about Luca Dean on there, the situation where he's admitted he wants to go, and very, very difficult what Rafa Benitez was saying. And a lot of criticism for the press conference, but I think he did the right thing to come out and to be clear and say Luca Dean wants to leave, whether that's because of personal differences or because of his own ambitions. That remains to be seen. But thanks very much for watching. Join us over on Twitter Spaces now. So what you do, go on your phone or your Safari browser or whatever web browser you're using, type in twitter.com/follow Everton and join us straight on there right now. If you're first time watching Follow Everton, please hit subscribe. Thank you.